The header section is used to identify the theme or topic of the A3. We may also note information such as the name of the area, the process, and the company in this section. Next, we describe the current state in this section. In other words, what's the problem that we're trying to solve? We'll also use this section to identify the gap between the target and actual condition. In this section, we document background and support data. This is where we share facts and figures. And when possible, it's always helpful to use charts and graphs since, as they say, a picture is indeed worth 1,000 words. Now, up to this point, we've only focused on describing the current state of the process. In this section, we're going to focus our efforts on root cause analysis. Again, we cover the 8-step practical problem-solving process in great detail in our PPS course, so please be sure to view this course if you're not familiar with this process. But as a review, during this step, we'll use tools like the 5 Why analysis in order to better understand the root cause or causes of the problem. And to be sure, this root cause analysis should always lead to action. And this action plan will be documented in this section. We will note the countermeasure or countermeasures for each root cause. We'll also note who is responsible for the action, what the action is, and when it'll be done. At this point, it's time to check the results and verify whether the countermeasures were successful. We'll once again note who is responsible for doing this, while also noting when it'll be done, how it'll be done, and how often it'll be done. So, like we mentioned earlier, the layout of the A3 is definitely flexible, but the content shown here should be addressed no matter what kind of A3 you're working on. Now, to put this into context of the PDCA process, the left side of this A3 is really focused on the planning phase, meaning we typically spend most of our time describing the problem in background while seeking to identify root causes. Well, the right side of this A3 is where we focused on the do phase, which, as we already mentioned, is when we seek to implement countermeasures for each root cause. And last, but certainly not least, we move into the check and act phases as we seek to verify whether the countermeasures were effective. And no matter if these countermeasures are effective or aren't effective, we'll always learn something worth sharing with others.